the Usyk fight and what went wrong there. Because for me, and I will absolutely bow to the greater knowledge that comes from all of you, but I went to that fight expecting from Daniel something very different. When I saw Daniel in the build-up, I saw a very confident, self-assured Daniel, a very balanced Daniel. A couple of times I saw him in the studio, he was a bit more aggressive towards Usyk than I thought he needed to be, but that's Daniel's perhaps temperament way of handling it. When I saw him on the fight, on the eve of the fight at Wembley, when we did a show from Wembley, it was very, very relaxed. When I saw him come in the ring, he didn't look anywhere near as relaxed and menacing as he did in preparation for the Anthony Joshua fight, which I thought was a slightly more intimidating environment for him to come in. And there was a moment in the first round, and I think we've spoken about it, Paul, where Daniel got Usyk in a position where Usyk doesn't want to be and never want to be, which is in the corner. And I thought, this is the moment where we're going to see where the difference between Daniel Dubois in the first fight, where people felt he had an opportunity, didn't take it, and the second fight is that Daniel's a champion. He'll now land on Usyk, or at least jump on him, and he didn't. And I thought, to me, that was very telling. So with that in mind, and some of that you can pick the bones out and say, it's not.
No, I'm listening.
What went wrong in this fight in terms of Usyk was brilliant, I know, but I thought Daniel was not at the level that I expected him to be at.
Yeah, there's a number of factors where you could have a look at. You can have a great game plan. Who was that said it? Mike Tyson?
Yeah. Maybe you get a punch in the face and it changes, yeah?
OK, so you asked me a question. What I observed in round 1 and in round 2 is that we were trying to imply our game plan. In some parts, Daniel was doing good, trying to carry out the game plan, yeah? He got hit with... Usyk came out aggressively.
What was the game plan, just so I understand?
Guard, the left guard, when you're fighting a southpaw, there are rules. Your foot placement, as an orthodox, your left foot placement and a high, tight left-hand guard.
Okay. So lead foot on the outside with left-hand tight.
So those are... If you go and watch the fight, Daniel was doing his best to implement that. So I was happy with that.
Right.
You quite rightly pointed out it was there for all to see. When he did get him in a situation where let your hands go, he didn't. No. Only Daniel can answer you that.
I think it's plain and simple.
But you must have a view on it.
Pardon me?
You must have a view on that.
No, in terms of the fighter, you've got that person backed up now. It's now time to throw the combinations to the body, to the head, everything. He didn't. I couldn't answer you that. That's a mental thing now. And also we have to acknowledge Usyk. Usyk didn't stand there to be picked off. He moved. He's a mover. OK? And remember, like I said to you, Usyk came out unusually aggressive.
Yep.
And it was his jab. He became the jabber in that fight.
So,
right?
When we were saying, when you said you fancied Dubois for the fight, and again, I'm not trying to be the smart ass here, because speaking after the fact, I didn't give him a chance in the fight.
Not at all.
Because of what I saw in the first fight. This is just my opinion, and many people disagree with me, and I've got no problem with people disagreeing with me. And my issue was, I feel Usyk came out very aggressive in the fight because he knows what happened in the first fight. I think when Dubois got in the ring after Usyk won, and a bit of mild disrespect, whatever you want to call it, I was saying to the telly, just let him have it.
The first fight or second fight?
So after Usyk won his fight and Dubois got in the ring to call him out, Daniel got in the ring to call him out. I was like, let him have his moment, you know, like that's not you, really, Dubois. He's not a bad lad. He's just, and he's a bit awkward, as is documented. So it's not really him. He was having to sort of put the bad guy act on to try and say, like, I want you next, Usyk. And I felt that little bit of thing. He's probably thought, Usyk, I'll give you the next defence, no problem, because I remember what it was like in Poland in the first fight. And I think he knew he had his number. He knew he could come. So in that fight, he just started aggressive, thinking, I'm going to take it to Dubois, put him on the back foot and beat him the way I did. And what happened in the fight. But I didn't fancy Dubois in that fight at all because of what I'd seen in the first fight. And it was what I'd seen with Daniel, not because of just how good Usyk is. And he is very good, by the way. He's a phenomenal fighter, Usyk.
I think that Usyk, you know, he'd done his homework and he recognised that he has to put Daniel on the back foot and take that self-belief away, right? Because he knows that that's where Daniel's weak points are. He's got the physicalities, right? So like Don said, they had the game plan. It was there. He gets him in the corner. It's all there. But if you haven't got that self-belief, you won't execute it. And I think that Usyk took that self-belief away very early in that opening round by going on the front foot, being aggressive, because Daniel is different, right?
Yeah.
He thinks differently to a lot of fighters. Like,
is that right, Dom? Does that sound right?
I'm listening intently.
Yeah,
and what Don just said about when you get smacked in the face
early in that fight is that Usyk took that self-belief away.
He got caught early, didn't he?
Yeah.
In the fight, and I think he felt the shot early.
I'll walk you through the fight. Okay, the jab. Daniel's known for his jab, a feared jab. Usyk was the one who became the jabber in that fight. That was my observation in the first couple of rounds. So that set the precedent for that fight. Okay, we couldn't get our jabs going. Okay, which gives a lot of people.
And it's difficult to do against the southpaw as well as
correct,
the jab, obviously.
Correct. Yeah. So there's a lot of factors, and it's almost like again, it's too late because we lost the fight. It wasn't a walk in the park in there.
No.
Out of the fight concluded in round 5.
Yeah.
Yeah. I gave my guys 2 rounds out of the. I'm not delusional.
Did you, boys?
Yes, I did. Well, I did.
No, you don't, Don. I didn't. Did you?
Don't remember.
No, watch it. Honestly, it's because it went against us, so people don't see anything else that happened prior. I know what happened. Daniel, granted, didn't let his hands go at times when he should, but that fight was in the balance. After all, we got caught in the exchanges. Yeah, the fight was just building up. When Daniel got stopped, it took a tremendous shot.
Is Daniel capable of pivoting into a plan B? Because ultimately what you've said is that Usyk took the initiative and did to him what he wanted to do to Usyk. But the default situation is then you've got to have a plan B.
Correct.
Is Daniel capable of having a plan B?
He's shown it in a few fights prior.
Right.
Yes, he has.
Okay.
In the Hrgovic fight, it wasn't going our way, and he was able to turn it around. In the Baby Miller fight, there was some sticky patches there, so he has got that ability to do that.
I mean, but that's levels, isn't it? I mean, Baby Miller and Usyk are 2 different levels, aren't they?
We won those fights, hence why they're credible, tough operators.
I hear you, but it's also fair for me to say, without being disrespectful, the Usyk levels, the difference is different. A thorny subject, and it's a subject that we've kicked around, and it's been kicked around about Daniel for some time, which is about a lack of grit. I'm not saying this as an ex-fighter. I've spoken to fighters and I've spoken to other people in the industry, so it's not me being a cock that's never laced a glove and has no right to say this. There is a question about Daniel Dubois in dark moments when adversity is right on top and this extra reflex that the guys that can will find an ability to overcome adversity. Tony Bellew was talking about it. Let's have a listen to what Tony Bellew had to say, and then we'll come back from that.
So you have to ask the question, why is it? Because when you get into these really hard moments in fights, that's when the real Daniel comes out. And the real Daniel doesn't want to fight. I'm sorry to say that. And it sounds harsh and really bad, but that's just the truth, guys. And listen, I'm a massive fan of him. I'm a massive fan of his sister. I think they're both brilliant fighters. But when you've had on 3 separate occasions now a moment of recollection and you sit there and you go, I'm hurt, I'm down, and he's had enough.
When Daniel, first 2 shots in the fight, hit Daniel on the chin, and then that's when Daniel just quit. He could not gather himself. He didn't throw the double jab. He didn't go. He didn't actually say no one.
He didn't step into it.
He didn't bite his gumshoe and say no. I'm just gonna go for it.
I don't even know how to describe it. He almost looked disinterested.
Indeed.
In the walk up to the ring. He looked like he wished to be in anywhere else other than where he was.
Yeah.
You know?
He was still able to get up, I feel, right? He was still, you know, even though he got knocked down with a heavy punch, he was still able to get up.
Yeah. So does that mean you think he swallowed it?
I think so.
Yeah. Lawrence?
It's hard to say. But if we're going to be, I don't know what he's actually experienced on the ground, but he did seem cool by the count of 10. He was able to walk to his corner and so on. But so I don't want to say he swallowed it, but it was tough.
I mean, I slightly undercooked that clip. It was Tony Bellew, it's Derek Chisora, it's Duke McKenzie, it's Joseph Parker, it's Lawrence Okoli. And in fairness, Don, it's a conversation that we've had in the studio with Paul and with Spencer about this extra dimension that certain fighters have to be able to overcome adversity, and this belief that perhaps Daniel doesn't have it. Daniel doesn't have it in the fight against Usyk. Daniel didn't have it in the fight against Joe Joyce, albeit I was at that fight and I know the explanations there and afterwards and the damage that was done to the orbital bone around his face, and I think some of the observations like David Hay and other people made were unfair. But there is this lingering doubt, and it resides in lots of people's minds.
Yeah.
And it's not because people have got an agenda against Daniel.
No.
What do you say to that?
What I say to that is that don't call me delusional, because I've spent a lot of time with this young man behind closed doors. He's got it. You might think, how can you say that? He's got it. At times, he's shown that he may not have it, granted. I've just pointed out the fights here where he gritted.
He picked down his gum shield, yeah.
He's got it. One day, it will all be explained. Not today.
I have a little opinion on it and a theory. And my theory is he's shown it in the fights when he wasn't necessarily tired like Hrgovic when it's early. It's when it gets into the latter stages or when he's fatigued and tired. And that will probably stem back from the tough sessions in the gym where you're being forced to push by someone behind you when you're a kid, when you're younger, when you're first coming through. And that relationship you have when the going gets tough, when you're really tired and drained, it's usually looking for the way out, or you bite down and you push through it.
No, here's my theory on this. Let me just add this in there, Don. So my theory on this one is, and it comes down to it again, I've already used the word, and it's self-belief. And I think that's where the kid, that's the difference here. It's not whether he's got it and where his pain threshold is and where it is. It's that when he's in with that, like your Alexander Usyk type guy, and that self-belief taken away from him, that's when this kicks in now, and this quit thing, the word that's thrown around. I don't believe fighters quit. It's just when they've had enough. I think quitting is a strong word for these gladiators.
Is it neurological wiring?
Like I said to you, it will be answered one day, not today. I have my reasons, and I know why I'm saying what I'm saying. Yeah. That question eventually will present itself. It will be answered. And he lost to one guy twice. Yeah. The same guy. Yeah. So we have to salute, acknowledge.
And he was exposed to a situation in the Joyce fight that perhaps his corner should have taken away from him, right? Because by taking the knee in that fight, I mean, I have to say, I went to that fight.
Yeah.
And when Daniel
that was during lockdown, right?
Correct.
Yeah. He saved his career there. Like
he
did.
But he caught a lot of. That's where it started. That's where the narrative was seeded, and he caught a lot of shrapnel for it. And if you'd have been in the corner for that fight, knowing the damage that was done to his face, would you have taken him out to have avoided the situation? Because he had to take the knee.
Most definitely. You have to recognise these things,
Sam was talking about the next direction of travel for Daniel and the way forward, and was alluding to a fight with Fabio Wardley for the WBO title. That a direction you'd advocate for? I mean, if I'm Fabio's side of the fence, I'd probably say, why do I want that particular as my first defence of a title I've just got? But for Daniel?
Daniel beats every other heavyweight. He beats every heavyweight, bar the man who's beaten him twice. Yeah? I'm not involved anymore. Again, I can speak as an outsider.
Tyson Fury? He beats Tyson Fury as well?
Take him out of the equation.
Okay.
Yeah? Because these guys, the reason I said they're on there, they haven't got that many more fights. All the current live heavyweights who are coming through, Daniel still walks through all of them.
You think he beats Fabio?
Most definitely. Easy work.
Well, I mean, I think that's what a lot of people thought about Fabio. And I think probably Joe Parker thought it was going to be the same.
Easy work. I can say that for a lot of reasons.
OK, fair enough.